Look, I have things to share, stories to tell, too many opinions to voice, and if you know me, you must know that I am never wrong. Never, ever, ever. This video is painful for branding reasons because today I want to chit chat with you about how my perceptions of gaming changed 2 years ago after I started streaming, playing video games. Before this, my whole childhood and up to parts of my adulthood, pretty much 28-ish years of my life, I always thought gaming was bad. So, why did I think that way? As a Vietnamese, I grew up being taught that gaming is just like the beginning of a bad ending. Now, if there's any Vietnamese watching this video and disagreeing with me, that's fine. I'm not gonna say my experiences are the standards of all other Vietnamese experiences. I just want to put it out there before I dive deeper into the topic. I'm also not sure if it's a Vietnamese thing or a general Asian thing, or maybe it's just me and my specific surroundings shaped my views on gaming. There are many reasons to why I always thought gaming was a waste of time. A lot of Vietnamese media tend to portray gaming as the culprit of many horrible things in life. I remember reading news like person A turned violent because he was playing too much violent games. Person B got severely addicted to gaming that it ruined his family, or teenager C died from playing video games all night. Even right now, when I do a quick Google search in Vietnamese with the phrase chơi game có hại, meaning play games harmful, I'm seeing many results stating the most extreme things. Excessive gamings over 2 to 3 hours per day can seriously harm physical health, shoulder and neck pain, decreased vision, digestive disorders, and mental health. Gaming addiction, decreased concentration, depression, anxiety. It can also easily lead to social conflicts, neglect of studies or work, and cause violent or irritable behavior when interrupted. As if these things can't be caused by overworking or simply sitting at your desk for long hours regardless of the reason. I say around 80 to 90% of office workers have to deal with working overtime, therefore back pain, neck pain, and neglecting personal needs. These things lead to extreme stress, sleeping disorders, sometimes depression. A lot of Vietnamese or Asian kids in general also deal with stress from having too many exams at school, having to study long hours, but only gaming can cause those harms I see. If I scroll down a little more, I can see numerous videos spreading the same information. Why gaming is bad, why you should not game, how gaming can seriously harm your mental health, proven harmful effects of gaming, etc., etc. Now, if I search the same phrase in English, play games harmful, I can clearly see a very different result. Playing video games is not inherently harmful, but it can have negative effects such as poor sleep, anxiety, or physical pain when done in excess. Moderation is key, as gaming can also offer cognitive benefits, improve teamwork skills, and provide social connection, depending on the game and how it's played. You might still get results stating negative effect of too much gaming, but for the most part, it is not nearly as extreme as the other response I showed earlier. We're basically comparing a very extremely biased response from Vietnamese media and a more neutral response from a more international, more westernized media. Both media may share the same stigma against gaming, but at least the Western media doesn't normally try to link gaming to people turning violent or committing criminal acts or needing to go into rehab from severe addiction. This is a big part of why I always look at gamers with a side eye. It's not the only reason though. I think the media is what shaped my first impression of gaming, and then everything I see after that becomes a confirmation bias to support my belief system. My childhood was many things but gaming. It also doesn't help that one of my first exposures to gaming was from my brother. He played a lot of games and he did introduce me to some games I really enjoyed. However, he was obsessed with this one game. I can't remember the name, but he would make me log in the game at a specific time to do some trading or some tasks. And if I don't do it, then he gets really upset at me. He also made money, lost money, or both playing those games. Generally, my earliest gaming memories felt like chores and not enjoyment. There it is, an anecdote that further proves how gaming is bad. When I grow up, my mom would occasionally tell me stories of her friend's husband who's 45 years old, so addicted to gaming that he doesn't help with any chores around the house, or another teenage kid who's also addicted to gaming that he turned a brat, skipping classes, smoking, stealing things for money. Aha, gaming is bad. I knew it. When I got to university, there were two of my friends that got into gaming. Seeing their behavior in games was also another anecdote to my belief. Aggressive, addictive, neglecting schoolwork, and friendships. I didn't realize at the time that it was less about gaming and more about what type of game game you play and also how you play it. And do you know what game they played? League of Legends, one of the most toxic gaming communities to be in. But at that time, yet again, I confirmed to myself gaming was bad. So what changed? Things started to shift after I met my boyfriend, who is a gamer, and he introduced me into gaming. The first two games we played together were Minecraft and old school RuneScape. I didn't like them that much, I just agreed to play because we're long distance and gaming is a fun activity to do when you run out of things to talk about. A short while after, I thought of streaming because I was always at home and bored. I needed to make more friends, gossip, and form more connections with others. Especially since a lot of my IRL friends and I are growing apart, we started to have two different beliefs about many things in life and I just wanted to find more like-minded people. It also didn't help that I chose to move far away from my hometown, away from all of my friends. Anyways, I started streaming on Twitch playing OSRS. Not a good idea, by the way. It was not an enjoyable experience. It took me many months to finally learn about Steam and many cool games that I can try on Steam. The moment I stopped playing and streaming OSRS, that was when I actually saw gaming differently. I've talked to many people on streams whom we're still friends with now. Not only my prejudice about gaming changed, but also my prejudice about streaming change. Gamers aren't always perverted or rude or weird. What a surprise, right? Look, I've had my fair share of messed up interactions with internet weirdos, but again, they don't represent the whole gamers community. It's not helpful to generalize any type of people. YouTubers aren't always idols, men don't always suck, women aren't always nice and helpless. You get the point. Games aren't always competitive or toxic. Gaming is just another hobby, just like reading, drawing, playing sports, etc. The hobby itself isn't unhealthy, but how you enjoy it is what matters. You can be a gym rat, which is supposed to be a healthy thing, but if you're obsessed with ego lifting, taking substances to boost your performance, that could go south real quick. Same with reading or drawing. You can absolutely be addicted to hoarding books or art supplies and go into serious credit card debt for those hobbies. Too much of anything is never a good thing. It's all about balance, right? The moment my brain started to comprehend that new perspective on gaming, I really started to discover different genres of games. I got into cozy gaming. I played a ton of Stardew Valley. It was awesome. I met a few nice people when I streamed Stardew. I tried a few other cozy games before I got into Project Zomboid, a survival horror game. I was obsessed with it. I made tons of friends playing PZ. It was awesome and one of my best gaming experiences. People were really nice and surviving together during a zombie apocalypse was so memorable. I finally managed to achieve my initial goal from streaming games. I made friends. I found a social connection. I found myself. I know it sounds corny, but I explored my new hobby and I discovered what genres I may be more interested in. Up until today, I'm still exploring. I play different games on streams, some good, some bad. I noticed certain habits that gamers have or certain interesting gaming cultures. I got very curious to learn more and hence this channel where I talk about gaming stuff. And hey, gamers aren't really that scary after all. Look, this is not me glossing over gaming and saying how great or life-changing gaming is. Can gaming actually be toxic? Absolutely yes. Every single day all over the world, there are many people that deal with real gaming addictions. Some are mild, some are quite serious. The addiction can come from gaming in general or it can come from specific toxic games that trigger bad behaviors. Generally speaking, games can indeed ruin lives. A lot of people, including myself, often play games as the form of escapism. I'm not judging, I hear ya. Life sucks, responsibilities suck. Forgetting everything and just focusing on gaming takes all the trouble away. It keeps your mind off of things for a little bit. There are so many uncertainties in life, it is almost impossible to manage it sometimes, and gaming can give you back some control. You can make one decision, change it later if you don't like it, or worst case, simply start a new game. You can't do the same thing with your real life, can you? Meeting online gaming friends feels a lot more worry-free than making IRL friends. You don't have to talk about what you do for work or what your plans are for the future. You meet, you talk for a bit, and you game. Life is much simpler in games than IRL. Now, if anything seems too good to be true, it is too good to be true. It can become a problem when you start avoiding problems and hide yourself in video games every time any inconvenience shows up. Families fall apart, relationships drift away, you're failing classes at school or losing your job because of inefficiency. And because yet again, everything in life becomes a mess, so you play games even more to cope with it or to not cope with it. The addiction grows bigger and bigger and forms itself into a loop. You become dependent on online connections, which can be very fragile and surface level because you know it's online. I'm saying all of this just to make a point that gaming can be a very fun hobby, but it can also go very awry if you use gaming as an escapism and start forming unhealthy relationships with it. However, is gaming uniquely evil? Hell no. I don't think it's fair that gaming gets singled out culturally because if we look at other hobbies like playing sports, doom scrolling, gambling, binging shows, overworking, overstudying, overexercising, dieting, gooning, these can bring tons of negative effects similar to gaming, some even worse than others. Basically, anything that seems innocent and good can become bad if done excessively. I've noticed that gaming is often considered a waste of time, especially in the corporate world or in older generations. As to why, I have my own theory, but feel free to let me know your thoughts on this. Gaming is one of the hobbies that can easily be made into evil. Like, they can't do the same thing with reading, exercising, or drawing, and they absolutely won't do it with working or studying. Every single day the media wants us to sleep less, entertain less, work more, work some more, and then more. The grind should never stop. You work all day and want to spend some time gaming? Disgusting. The Asian media takes this a lot more personally because Asia is known for having an extremely toxic working culture. But it's not just working, it's also our whole identity. Taking pride in studying all day, exceeding at school, completing more tasks than you're required to do, staying at work for longer hours voluntarily. Being hardworking is often praised and setting boundaries is gonna get you fired. It's just deeply rooted in being Asian. I've been streaming for 2 years now, but I haven't even told my parents about it. There was one time when they visited me and my mom saw me playing video games. She absolutely freaked out, saying she's worried that I'll have a gaming addiction. I'll try to have a conversation with her one day, but I'm not sure how to get her to understand that I'm now a streamer playing video games, making friends with socially awkward introverts on the internet, and they subscribe to me or donate to me for the entertainment I provide. I feel like she's gonna listen to this and interpret into something weirdly different. But anyways, I'm still very proud of the progress I've made so far, and my parents are good parents. Not complaining, just pointing out the ironies so we can giggle about it. I've been yapping a lot and I don't think I've made any solid points in today's video. It was more of a personal story time anyways, but if you like this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of me. I post once a week on YouTube talking about gaming related stuff, and I stream 3 times a week on Twitch, mostly chilling and saying awkward things. Well, until next time, see ya, bye bye.